I'm about to help you understand the great Moabite clan of Judah called Pahath Moab. I introduced Pahath Moab, the great Moabite clan of Judah, in my first video that I really need to redo. It's called Pahath Moab, the great Moabite clan of Judah, in Ezra chapter 2, verse 6. In that video, I introduced Pahath Moab, the great Moabite clan of Judah. I used only 3 sources in that video. The first one was the Bible in the book of Ezra, chapter 2. The second source was International Standard Bible Encyclopedia, where you can find Pahath Moab. The third source was McClintock Strong's Bible Encyclopedia. I'm going to help you understand where Pahath Moab came from. I already did in those little videos. I need to redo. I'm going to do it one more time. Pahath Moab was established. 2 verses I found so far in the Bible. 1 generation before Moses was ever born. So while most Israelites were in Egypt, there were many Israelites who were already in Moab. They were established in Moab according to 1 Chronicles chapter 4 verse 22 by a man called Seraph, S-A-R-A-P-H. Seraph was Judah's grandson. Seraph's father was Shiloh, aka Shelah. So the way it would look would be Judah had a son named Shelah / Shiloh, and then Sarah. Judah had a son named Shelah / Shiloh, and then Shelah / Shiloh had a son named Seraph. According to 1 Chronicles chapter 4 verse 22, Seraph established domains in Moab. Keep in mind that Seraph was the grandson of Judah. Moses was the great-grandson of Levi. Okay, so and then 1 Chronicles chapter 8 verse 8 and verse 9, you see that Benjamin's granddaughter named Hodesh, she had established 7 clans in Moab by a man named Shaharaim. I need to do some research on him. So most Israelites were in Egypt, but some were not in Egypt. They were in Moab. So putting this story together, you see that most Israelites were still in Egypt, while many Israelites were in Moab before Moses ever came along. Now in the book of Ezra is all about when the tribe of Judah came back from Babylon, back into the Holy Land, and rebuilt the temple and signed the new covenant. That's what Ezra is all about. So Pahath Moab is mentioned in the book of Ezra, which means Pahath Moab was around for a long time. I mean, before Israel ever went into Canaan, before Moses ever came along, Pahath Moab was already established, and Pahath Moab was around all the way until Judah got kicked out the Holy Land, sent into Babylon, and when Judah came back, Pahath Moab was still there. And it was gigantic and very, very important. It was a gigantic clan of Judah called Pahath Moab. So I'm going to go to Ezra chapter 2. Now there are 70 verses in Ezra chapter 2. Verse 1 says, these are the people of Judah who came back from captivity in Babylon, who returned to Jerusalem. Those who came with Zerubbabel were Jeshua, Nehemiah, and 8 others. I'm not going to list them. So I'll help you with some context here. 70 verses listing the people who came back to the Holy Land from Babylon. The first 3, Zerubbabel, Jeshua, Nehemiah. These must be some very important people to be. Okay, this is verse 2 out of 70. So Zerubbabel, Jeshua, Nehemiah. Now we know that there's a book in the Bible called Nehemiah. He must have been somebody important. But before him, he's mentioned Jeshua. Jeshua is of Pahath Moab, the great Moabite clan of Judah in Ezra. So now go to verse 6. The people of Pahath Moab, of the people of Jeshua and Joab, 2,812. Okay, that's gigantic. Now I'm going to jump over to okay, because this is still a list. Ezra chapter 2. I'm still in the list of the people of Judah who came back from Babylon, back into the Holy Land. Now it mentions the priests, the sons of Jedoah of the house of Jeshua, 973. So we have 973 priests of Pahath Moab. Who came back. Okay, next we have Ezra chapter 2 verse 40. Now it mentions the Levites. It says the Levites, the sons of Jeshua and Kadmiel, 74. So we got 74 Levites who are of the sons of Jeshua, who were Pahath Moab. So I'm helping you understand how deep and fascinating Pahath Moab was. I'm going to jump to Ezra chapter 3. I'm going to move up a little bit because chapter 2 listed all the people who came back. All the people of Judah who came back from Babylonian captivity back into Jerusalem. That was a list. So what did the people do? What did all these people do? Well, in chapter 3 it says, in the 7th month, the children of Israel gathered together as one in Jerusalem. Picture that. All the people in the 7th month came together as one in Jerusalem. What happened next? Jeshua and his brethren, the priests, and Zerubbabel arose and built the altar of God. So here we have Pahath Moab building the altar of the God of Israel. Now, it doesn't mention anybody else rebuilding the Holy Temple. It just says Joshua and Zerubbabel. I mean, that tells you Pahath Moab was a great clan of Judah. Verse 4. Okay, chapter 3, verse 4. They also kept the Feast of Tabernacles. I mean, that's kind of deep right there. Because the people came back to the Holy Land. Then in the 7th month, Joshua rebuilt the temple with Zerubbabel. And it says, the next thing they did was they kept the Feast of Tabernacles. Okay, I'm going to help you understand the Feast of Tabernacles. I'm going to... the tent of Tabernacles was built in Moab in the time of Moses. It was either Moses or his successor, who was Joshua. Picture that. We have tabernacles mentioned twice that I can remember so far. First was way back, because see, Moses took the people out of Israel and led them all the way to Moab. And Moses stopped in Moab. Moses renewed the Holy Israelite covenant in Moab. Moses was buried in Moab. It was either Moses or Joshua who built the tent of tabernacles in Moab. I mean, it's just fascinating stuff if you want to look up Pahath Moab. I mean, they were established very early on. Moses went there and renewed the covenant. I mean, why would he stop in Moab? That's kind of deep. So, Feast of Tabernacles is mentioned. I mean, the tent of tabernacles was built way back. It was either Moses who built it, the tent of tabernacles in Moab, or it was his successor Joshua. And then now we have the Feast of Tabernacles being mentioned way over here after Judah came back into the Holy Land from Babylon. So, Ezra chapter 3. What else did Judah do? Joshua with his son. Okay, verse 9. Joshua with his sons arose as one to oversee those working on the house of God. So picture that. Joshua is a supervisor of those who are rebuilding the Holy Temple in Jerusalem. For those of you who might think that, oh, Pahath Moab, who's that? That's nobody. Well, it's somebody you need to look up. Especially if you call yourself a Bible reader. Always talk about Judah, 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 Judah. Well, who was Judah? Who were his descendants? Pahath Moab is a great clan of Judah. Okay, so also I'm going to have to do a part 2 on this, because Pahath Moab was also signers of the new covenant at this same time period, which is deep. Pahath Moab built the temple, supervised the building of the temple, signed the new covenant. Pahath Moab is deep. And I'm going to stop this right here. I'm going to maybe do I'm going to continue a little bit more. Okay, so this what I've just explained. I'm going to go deeper probably in a part 2. This would help explain why. Okay, this connects with Genesis chapter 49, verse 10, where it says, "The scepter shall depart from Judah when Shiloh comes," because you'll find that Shiloh was Shelah, whose grandson was Seraph. Seraph established domains in Moab. So the way I'm seeing it, the scepter departed from Judah to Moab by way of Shiloh's son Seraph. That's some deep stuff. Another thing that I'm looking at is that we keep saying, our people keep saying that we are the tribe of Judah, we are the Israelites, we are the Israelites, we are the Israelites. I'm not perfectly sure if we are or we're not. But some Israelites were in Egypt and some were in Moab. So you need to be more specific. Because if you're saying my ancestors were Israelites in Egypt. You keep saying Egypt. Well, you might be referring to the wrong Israelites, because other Israelites were in Moab. So you keep saying your ancestors were in Egypt, and keep reading up that in the Bible. That might not have even been your people. Your people might have never been in Egypt. That's why I have another video called "All Israelites Were Not in Egypt, Many Were in Moab." I need to redo that video. You might be like barking up the wrong tree. So anyways, so this could help explain why why Moses stopped in Moab and renewed the covenant there. This might help explain how Ruth was a Moabite. It might explain how King David sent his father Jesse to Pahath Moab, because Jesse was in danger of his life, and Jesse was safe in Moab. I know some of y'all simple-minded people like to say, Moab was the enemy, Moab was the enemy, Moab was the enemy. Well, if you look at it, Judah's enemy was Israel, because they fought long civil wars. So I'm going to end this right here. I might do a part 2. Shalom, Salam, Hotel.